The saloon called Madame Scarlet's Den of Iniquity sat at the edge of Dustville like a festering sore, its garish red paint peeling in the harsh Kansas sun. Inside, 18-year-old Daisy Crawford scrubbed floors on her hands and knees, trying to make herself invisible as men drank and gambled and eyed the working girls with varying degrees of lust and contempt. At nearly 300 pounds, Daisy was larger than any woman in Dustville, a fact that had protected her from the worst of Madame Scarlet's business so far. The Madame preferred her girls delicate and appealing, and Daisy was neither. But that protection was running out. Madame Scarlet had made it clear that morning that Daisy had 1 week to start earning her keep properly, or find herself out on the street, which in Dustville, for a girl with no family and no prospects, was essentially a death sentence. The third option, which Scarlet had delivered with a cruel smile, was to accommodate the gentlemen who prefer more substantial entertainment. Daisy knew what that meant, and the thought made her stomach turn. She finished scrubbing the floor and retreated to the tiny storage room she shared with her 10-year-old brother Tom. The boy was curled on their shared pallet, his thin chest wheezing with the lung sickness that had plagued him since birth. They had no money for medicine. They had no money for anything. Their parents had died of fever 2 years ago, leaving Daisy responsible for a chronically ill child with no resources and no prospects. "Daisy?" Tom's voice was thin and reedy. "Did you find any food?" "A little," Daisy lied, handing him the heel of bread she'd been saving for herself. "Eat this and try to sleep. Tomorrow will be better." It was a lie. Tomorrow would be worse, because Madame Scarlet's patience was wearing thin, and Daisy was running out of time to figure out how to escape their situation. That night, after Tom fell asleep, Daisy made a decision born of desperation. She knew where Madame Scarlet kept the weekly take from the saloon, a metal box hidden behind a loose board in the office. It was theft, and if she was caught, she'd likely hang. But staying meant a fate she couldn't accept, and Tom needed medicine more than Madame Scarlet needed another silk dress. Daisy waited until the saloon was at its loudest, full of drunk men and distracted women, and she slipped into the office. Her heart pounded so hard she thought everyone in the building must be able to hear it. She pried up the board with shaking hands, found the box, and took $50, enough for train tickets west and a few weeks of expenses if they were careful. She replaced the box, fled back to her room, and woke Tom. "We're leaving right now. Don't ask questions, just come." They made it to the train station with minutes to spare, Daisy purchasing 2 tickets to Prairie Rest, Kansas, a small farming town she'd seen advertised in a weeks-old newspaper. The advertisement had included a notice from a farmer named Colt Brennan seeking a mail-order bride. Practical woman wanted for frontier life. Must be hard-working and not afraid of challenges. Romance less important than capability. Daisy had no illusions about romance. At her size, with a sick brother in tow and a past that now included theft, she wasn't going to attract anyone looking for a delicate beauty. But Colt Brennan's advertisement suggested he valued work over appearance, and that was the best she could hope for. She had written him a letter weeks ago, carefully omitting certain facts about her size and her employment, and had received a brief reply saying he'd meet her at the Prairie Rest Station on October 15th. The train journey took 2 days. Daisy spent the time coaching Tom on their cover story. She was a widow, He was her son. They were coming west for a fresh start. Tom, frightened but trusting, agreed to go along with the deception. They arrived in Prairie Rest in late afternoon, and Daisy's heart sank as she surveyed the small town. It was even more primitive than Dustville, just a handful of buildings clustered around the train depot. A man leaned against a wagon near the platform, and Daisy knew instantly this was Colt Brennan. He was tall, well over 6 feet, with a powerfully muscled frame that his simple homespun shirt couldn't conceal. His chest and abdomen showed the kind of definition that came from constant physical labor, what people were starting to call a six-pack of muscles. He had dark hair, a strong jaw, and eyes that missed nothing as they surveyed the arriving passengers. He looked to be in his early 30s, and Daisy's stomach twisted with renewed fear. This was a man who could have his pick of women. What was he going to say when he saw her? Daisy gathered her courage and approached with Tom trailing behind. "Mr. Brennan, I'm Daisy Crawford. We've been corresponding." Colt's eyes widened slightly as he took in her size, but his expression didn't show disgust, just surprise, quickly masked. "Miss Crawford, welcome to Prairie Rest." His gaze dropped to Tom. "Your letter didn't mention a son." Before Daisy could respond with her practiced lie, Tom's breathing suddenly became labored, his chest heaving as he struggled for air. Daisy recognized the signs of a bad asthma attack and dropped to her knees beside him, panic flooding through her. "Tom, breathe. Just try to breathe slowly." Colt moved with surprising speed, pushing Daisy aside and examining Tom with the practiced efficiency of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. "It's his lungs. How long has he had this condition?" "Since birth," Daisy gasped, tears streaming down her face. "But I don't have money for medicine, and he's been getting worse." "Get in the wagon," Colt ordered. "Both of you, now." He carried Tom to the wagon and laid him in the bed, then drove at dangerous speed toward his farm. Once there, he carried Tom into the house and began treating him with an assortment of herbs and tinctures, his hands steady and sure. Within 30 minutes, Tom's breathing had eased, and the boy fell into an exhausted sleep. Only then did Colt turn to face Daisy, his expression unreadable. "You lied to me. In your letters, you said you were a widow with a son. That boy calls you Daisy, not Mother, and he's clearly your brother, not your child. You're too young to have a 10-year-old son. So let's try this again, with the truth this time. Who are you, and what are you really running from?" Daisy collapsed into a chair, all her careful deceptions crumbling. "My name is Daisy Crawford. Tom is my brother. Our parents died 2 years ago. I was working at a saloon, just cleaning, I swear, but the owner was going to force me into other work. I stole $50 and ran. If they catch me, I'll hang. Tom has chronic lung disease and needs medicine we can't afford. And yes, I lied about my appearance in the letters because I knew no man would want someone my size. I'm sorry. I'll leave in the morning if you want, but please, could you spare some of that medicine for Tom before we go?" Colt studied her for a long moment, his expression softening slightly. "You're a thief." "Yes." "You lied in your correspondence." "Yes." "You're running from the law." "Probably." "And you brought a chronically ill child on this journey, knowing you had no resources to care for him." Daisy's face crumpled. "I had no choice. It was steal and run, or let Madame Scarlet turn me into—" She couldn't finish the sentence. "I know it was wrong. I know I've made terrible choices, but Tom deserves better than to die because his sister was too weak to do what needed to be done." To her surprise, Colt's harsh expression softened further. "I understand desperation better than you might think, and I'm not one to judge people's pasts too harshly, given my own." He sat down across from her. "I'm going to tell you something, Miss Crawford, that very few people know. My name isn't Colt Brennan. It's Colt Brennan now, but I was born Colton Blackwell. I was a battlefield surgeon during the war. I saw things, did things that still haunt me. When the war ended, I couldn't go back to my old life, couldn't face the memories, so I came west, changed my name, and started over." Daisy stared at him. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I want you to understand that we all have pasts we're running from. You stole to protect your brother. I left medicine behind because I couldn't bear the memories of all the men I couldn't save. We're both survivors, Miss Crawford, and maybe we can help each other survive." He leaned forward. "Here's what I propose. Stay for a trial period, 1 month. You help me run this farm, care for the house, manage the daily tasks. I'll provide for you and Tom, including medicine for his lungs. If at the end of the month we think we can make this work as a permanent arrangement, we'll marry properly. If not, I'll give you enough money to start fresh somewhere else, no questions asked. Fair?" "Why would you do this?" Daisy whispered. "I lied to you. I'm a criminal, and I'm—" She gestured helplessly at her body. "You're desperate, honest about it now, and clearly devoted to protecting someone you love," Colt said. "Those are qualities I value. As for your size," he shrugged, "I need a partner who can work hard, not a decorative ornament. You look strong enough to handle farm life. That's what matters to me." Tears streamed down Daisy's face. "Thank you. You don't know what this means." "I think I do," Colt said quietly. "Now let's get your brother settled properly, and then I'll show you around. Tomorrow, we start fresh. Both of us." Over the following weeks, Daisy discovered that Colt Brennan was a man of surprising complexity. He worked his farm with the same precision he must have used as a surgeon, everything planned, nothing wasted. He taught Daisy the rhythms of frontier life, and she proved to be a quick learner and a tireless worker. Her size, which she had always seen as a weakness, turned out to be an advantage in farm work. She could haul water, lift heavy sacks, and work long hours without tiring. But there was something else going on at Colt's farm, something he kept hidden until circumstances forced his hand. Daisy discovered it one night when she heard voices in the barn and investigated to find Colt tending to a family of 4. A black man, his wife, and 2 children, all exhausted and terrified. Colt saw her in the doorway and froze. "Daisy, this isn't what it looks like." "It looks like you're hiding fugitive slaves," Daisy said quietly. "They're not fugitives. They're free people trying to make it to Canada," Colt corrected. "This farm is a stop on the Freedom Trail. I help people get north to safety. If anyone finds out, I'll lose everything. My farm, my freedom, probably my life. So I need to know right now, are you going to turn me in?" Daisy looked at the family huddled in the barn, saw the same desperate fear in their eyes that she'd felt running from Dustville. "No," she said firmly, "I won't turn you in. How can I help?" Relief flooded Colt's face. "Keep Tom away from the barn tomorrow morning. These folks will be gone by nightfall, but I need to make sure no one sees them." Over the next weeks, Daisy learned the truth about Colt's isolated farm and his carefully constructed new identity. He was part of a network of people who helped escaped slaves reach freedom, using his medical skills to tend to the sick and injured who passed through. It was dangerous, illegal work that could get them both killed or imprisoned. "Why risk everything for strangers?" Daisy asked one night after they'd sent another family north. "Because I spent the war cutting off limbs and watching men die," Colt said, his voice heavy with old pain. "I need to save people now to balance out all the ones I couldn't save then. It's the only thing that makes the nightmares bearable." Daisy understood that kind of desperate need to make amends, to do something good to balance out perceived failures. "I'll help you," she said, "however I can." As the month trial period neared its end, Daisy and Colt had fallen into an easy partnership. They worked the farm together during the day and sometimes helped desperate travelers at night. Tom's health had improved dramatically under Colt's care, and the boy adored his new life on the farm. But neither Daisy nor Colt had spoken about the arrangement beyond the trial period, both seemingly afraid to break the fragile peace they'd built. The crisis came when a man named Silas Grimshaw rode up to the farm with 2 deputies. Grimshaw was a banker from the nearest large town, a man known for buying up properties and driving settlers off their land. "Mr. Brennan," Grimshaw said with an oily smile, "I'm here on official business. I have reason to believe you're harboring fugitive slaves on this property, in violation of federal law. I've brought deputies to search the premises." Colt's face went carefully neutral. "You're welcome to search. You won't find anything illegal." What Grimshaw didn't know was that Colt had a hidden cellar built specifically for hiding travelers. The deputies searched the barn, the house, the outbuildings, but found nothing. After an hour, they left empty-handed, though Grimshaw's expression promised this wasn't over. That night, as they released the terrified family from the hidden cellar and sent them north with provisions, Colt turned to Daisy. "This is going to get worse. Grimshaw wants this land because it sits on the best water source in the county. He'll use any excuse to take it from me, including my work with the Freedom Trail. If you marry me, you'll be tied to this fight. If you leave now, you and Tom can still start fresh somewhere safe." Daisy looked at this complex, wounded man who had given her and Tom a home when they had nowhere else to go. She thought about the families they'd helped, about Tom's improved health, about the sense of purpose she'd found working alongside Colt. "I'm not leaving," she said firmly. "We started this trial period as strangers running from our pasts, but somewhere along the way we became partners, maybe even friends, and I choose to stand with you, whatever comes." Colt's stern expression cracked, showing vulnerability beneath. He stepped closer, his calloused hand cupping her round cheek with surprising tenderness. "Daisy, I need you to understand something. When I look at you, I don't see what the world sees. I don't see your size or your past or your supposed flaws. I see strength and courage and compassion. I see someone who survived things that would have broken most people. I feel every part of who you are, and all of it is valuable to me." Tears streamed down Daisy's face. "Colt, let me finish," he interrupted gently. "I never expected this when I put that advertisement in the paper. I thought I'd find a practical arrangement, someone to help run the farm. Instead, I found you, and you've become essential to me in ways I didn't know I needed. So I'm asking, not because of our agreement or because of convenience, but because I've fallen in love with you. Daisy Crawford, will you marry me? For real this time, as partners and as more than partners, if you're willing. Yes, Daisy whispered, then louder, yes, I love you too, Colt. I didn't mean to, didn't think someone like you could ever want someone like me, but you've shown me that I'm more than what I thought I was. You've given me and Tom a home and a purpose. Yes, I'll marry you. Colt pulled her into his arms and kissed her with a passion and tenderness that took her breath away. When they finally pulled apart, both were smiling through tears. We're going to face challenges, Colt warned. Grimshaw isn't going to stop. The Freedom Trail work is dangerous. Life out here is hard, even without those complications. We'll face them together, Daisy said firmly. As husband and wife, as partners in every sense, I'm not afraid anymore, Colt. Not of hard work, not of danger, not even of my own past. Because I know you'll stand with me, and I'll stand with you. They married the following week in a simple ceremony with the circuit preacher. Tom served as witness, beaming with pride that his sister had found someone who treated her with the respect and love she deserved. As Colt slipped a simple gold band onto Daisy's finger and spoke his vows with conviction and feeling, she felt the last pieces of shame and self-doubt fall away. The challenges Colt had warned about did come. Grimshaw continued his efforts to take the farm, spreading rumors and bringing legal challenges. But Colt and Daisy faced them together, building alliances with neighbors and documenting their legitimate claim to the land. The Freedom Trail work continued, and Daisy proved invaluable, her size and strength helping to move supplies, her fierce protectiveness of vulnerable families making her a formidable guardian. One night, several months after their marriage, as they lay in bed after sending another family north to safety, Daisy spoke into the darkness. Do you ever regret it? Choosing me instead of someone easier, someone who didn't come with a sick brother and a criminal past and all these complications. Colt pulled her closer, his strong arms wrapping around her soft body. Never, not for a single moment. You're exactly who I needed, Daisy. The complications aren't flaws. They're what made you into the strong, compassionate, courageous woman I love. I feel every you, remember? Every part of your past, every aspect of who you are now. All of it matters. All of it is precious to me. Daisy turned in his arms and kissed him deeply. I love you, she said when they finally pulled apart. Thank you for seeing me when I couldn't see myself, for giving me the chance to become who I was meant to be. Thank you for taking that chance, Colt replied, for trusting me with your truth, for standing beside me in dangerous work, for bringing light and laughter and purpose back into my life. We saved each other, Daisy, and we'll keep saving each other every day for the rest of our lives. As they held each other in the darkness, listening to Tom's steady breathing in the next room and knowing that somewhere to the north, another family was finding freedom because of their work, both Daisy and Colt felt a deep sense of peace. They had started as strangers bound by desperate need and convenient deception, but they had become something far more valuable, true partners bound by love, respect, and shared purpose. The mountain man, former surgeon, Freedom Trail conductor, and solitary survivor, had found his match in the girl nobody wanted, the thief running from her past, the devoted sister willing to do anything to protect her brother. Together, they were building something that would outlast them both, not just a successful farm or a station on the Freedom Trail, but a love that saw past surface judgments to the truth beneath, that valued character over appearance, that chose partnership and purpose over easy comfort. And when Daisy later became pregnant with their first child, and Colt's hand rested gently on her swelling belly, he whispered the words that had become his promise to her. "I feel every you, Daisy Brennan, every part of who you are, who you were, who you're becoming, and all of it is perfect in my eyes." They had both been running from their pasts, both desperate and broken in different ways. But in finding each other, they had discovered that sometimes the most unlikely matches create the strongest bonds, that love based on genuine recognition of another person's worth is the most powerful kind, and that home isn't a place but the person who makes you feel seen, valued, and cherished exactly as you are. Their story became legend in that part of Kansas. The mail-order bride and the farmer with secrets who built a life together that was equal parts danger and devotion, who helped dozens of families find freedom while building their own family, and who proved that the best love stories begin not with perfect circumstances, but with two imperfect people choosing to see and accept each other completely.